Good afternoon, and thanks everyone for coming today. My name is Lauren. I'm the chair of the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Chamber, we thank you all for coming today. If you're just visiting, we welcome you to our beloved town. We're very fortunate to be accommodated again by one of our first Chamber members, the Russian Icon Museum. So not only is it full of history and full of artifacts, it's a renowned place for visitors to come and a reason to come to our town. The staff and the board is an asset to our town. They're always involved in town efforts, events that we host, but again, they attract businesses to our area, so in turn, people get to walk down High Street and walk to our downtown and visit other businesses. So we thank you again, and thank you for being here, and thank you for helping us along the way. This is our first annual chamber meeting as we launch as the new chamber. Clinton has been missing a Chamber of Commerce for quite some years, and there's no better time than now to start one again. Myself, I am a business owner in town, and the volunteer board of the Chamber is something I'm quite passionate about leading. In 2019, I was introduced to a volunteer board here in town made up of merchants on High Street called Discover Clinton. Weekly coffee meetings between volunteer members kept business owners of High Street connected. They hosted downtown events, marketed, promoted shopping, and aimed to increase tourism in Clinton. Myself and my good friends, Bill Spencer and Kerry Salwa, we soon got deeply involved, and we were invested at that point. So we were going through meeting minutes and talking to current members, talking to ones that weren't as heavily involved in Discover Clinton anymore, but trying to reconnect to figure out what's happening, what's this committee all about, where do you see it going, and how can we help you get to that point. Once we read through the minutes, we discovered that there were reoccurring hurdles that were discussed year after year after year, and we thought it was time to move past those hurdles and put together action plans to jump over them. However, like ourselves in the committee, all the members of Discover Clinton were volunteer, they were business owners, they were running their storefronts. Although their outreach was powerful and they were committed, they could only stretch so far. We began by reestablishing Discover Clinton's articles as a registered 501(c) with local attorneys in town with their help. Selectmen in town helping us get on our feet. We created social media pages, a website, directory of business, enlarged their events, and most valued to me, we reached out to other businesses that were off the downtown path to connect more business owners together, which is what it's really all about. We made a lot of strides through COVID, becoming a hub of connection for businesses where we advertised for them and connected them to the public. We raised money and even distributed penalty-free grants totaling to $50,000, all in thanks to the Langton family, and connecting resources made by our town economic and community development director, Phil Duffy. Although COVID was detrimental in a lot of ways, our town rallied behind businesses, town officials provided funding and resources to business owners, and for the first time, Discover Clinton gained the most traction it's ever had. From here, our board, as well as town officials, saw the benefit in moving towards a small business association. We are fortunate enough to meet Tim Murray and his team at the Worcester Regional Chamber, and they saw the same vision for our business and for our blossoming town. You can all see how beautiful our downtown has become in the past 3 years. From my perspective, which if you know me, this is fitting. I own a painting company, you'll soon tell after this analogy, but the downtown to me was a fixer-upper. The beauty it was all there, it just needed to be brought back to its original beauty. So we pulled off the peeling wallpaper, we put a fresh coat of paint on, installed some new flooring, the sidewalks. So after a few $1 million later, it's now attracting all sorts of foot traffic and new businesses or buyers for the used to be fixer-upper. So it's really nice to see people walking downtown now and enjoying our downtown, and people really, really not taking us for granted anymore. There's room to grow. We're confident that we can be that guiding resource to establish businesses here and welcome new businesses as well. I'd now like to introduce our town administrator, Mike Ward.
Thank you, Lauren, and good afternoon to everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to welcome you all here to be with us today, especially Congresswoman Lori Trahan, State Representative Meg Kilcoyne for joining us. And it's also my pleasure to extend this welcome on behalf of my colleagues on the Clinton Select Board. With us today is Sean Kerrigan and Julie Peruse, and all of our members that have been very supportive of our business and economic development interests here in Clinton. I would also like to take a moment again, as we will continue to do, to thank Tim Murray and the Worcester Chamber of Commerce for supporting our business community through the creation of the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce. As we celebrate this inaugural annual meeting, I would like to point out in how such a short period of time the Clinton Area Chamber has made already such a positive impact, with successes on the Clinton Economic Development Day and the community events and the business advocacy. I look forward to what the future holds after this great start and hope that we can build upon this foundation. And please know that the town of Clinton is here to assist in your efforts to grow this organization that will ultimately enhance our local economy. It's nice to see so many familiar faces here, and as what I always like to do for anyone that's new to Clinton, that's just joining us from out of town, we hope that you'll always come back, because as you come to Clinton and you see what we're all about, that we're confident that you'll come back and enjoy all that we have to offer. And if you do, you'll always be very welcome here in Clinton. So I thank you again, and I hope you all have a good day and look forward to the rest of the program.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks, Tim. It is our pleasure at Clinton Savings Bank to sponsor today's inaugural meeting of the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce. My name is John Pekulis. I'm the Chief Lending Officer at Clinton Savings, joined today by a very talented team of colleagues over here. Thank you, Representative Trahan, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here. I know how crazy that schedule can be. And thank you, members of the Worcester Chamber, of course, Kristen Luna, Alex Guardiola, Tim Murray, and Bill Spencer, who was formerly a colleague of mine, and I know a strong catalyst for a lot of the growth here in Clinton. Now, what a beautiful building that we're in today. You know, you wouldn't know it from the outside. This is a 150-year-old historic mill building. Simon, you and your team should be proud at what you've done here. This is really a hidden gem that...
I have not that much.
Your team then. Okay. So yours new.
It's a team.
So yours new to the role as I am. Okay. But I was impressed to hear as I was reading up about the museum that it was the brainchild of Gordon Langton. As some of you may know, Gordon was a pioneering plastics mogul that made Nipro into the juggernaut that eventually became and obviously purchased and acquired by Jabil. But among his other numerous achievements, Gordon and my wife's grandfather, Warren Brooks, worked very closely together. My wife's grandfather owned a plastics company here in Clinton that was eventually acquired by Nipro. And through the 60s and 70s, they pioneered the clean room idea, which was a brand new cutting edge technology at the time. So I thought that was pretty cool as I was reading up about the history here. And it's exactly that kind of dedication that to this community that I think that we are so proud at Clinton Savings Bank to be a part of. It's that same steadfast commitment that so many of our own customers embody. Our customers, whether commercial or our depositors, that motivate us to come to work each and every day. And as we celebrate 170 years at Clinton Savings, for this very special community, we look forward to serving 170 more, helping local businesses and townspeople, giving everyone an experience that they can continue to bank on. So thank you for giving us this opportunity, and it is now my pleasure to introduce Simon Morsing, Executive Director.
Well, thank you, John, and thank you all. And it's really great that, well, I'm very much looking forward to working with you all in the very near future. This is, it's great having you all here in this museum. This is I'm not brand new anymore. I'm new. 4 weeks. I've been working here for 4 weeks now, and I am new to Clinton. And Lauren, I can tell you, when I came here, and I saw this beautiful park here in the center. You call it Central Park, and I know, of course, Central Park in New York. But somehow it reminded me of that because it's so well kept. It's so beautiful. And you talked about well, what you've done for the businesses here and how everything looks like. I'm impressed by that. So compliments. I look with fresh eyes. You know this region and the town very well. So I'm really impressed as a Dutchman, because I am from the Netherlands. I moved 4 weeks ago from Amsterdam to this place, and it's quite an experience. I have to say that I'm enjoying it a lot. And what is John already? John talked about this. Gordon Langton, who founded this museum, this beautiful place. This is a beautiful building and a beautiful space. But what is even more beautiful and highly interesting is what this museum is about. And it is about icons, Russian icons. And that makes this museum a truly unique place in the United States of America. It is the one and only, it is the only niche museum, specialized museum for this specific type of art. And that is something really extraordinary, and I think that it is something that Clinton should really be very, very proud of. We have big plans for the museum. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. We're in the middle of our strategic planning now for the coming years, but there's one thing that I can tell you, that you will hear much more about it in the coming years. Well, great seeing you all here. I'm a new face to you, and again, I'm very much looking forward to working with you. And you know, I'm especially happy that I'm only about more or less of a month in the States, and I've already met my first congresswoman, which is really special. So thank you very much. Thank you.
And his first state representative. Thank you, boy, right? You talk about a twofer, Simon, right? Well, good afternoon. My name is Tim Murray. I lead the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce, and my formal role here is to introduce Congresswoman Trahan, but I would be remiss if I didn't do a few thank yous as well. First to the Russian Icon Museum and staff, for accommodating us. I also want to acknowledge Clinton Savings Bank for stepping up to support this first annual meeting of the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce. And as we talk about, and John mentioned, the years that Clinton Savings Bank has existed, the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce in 2025 will be celebrating our 150th anniversary as well. But you don't reach those dates without a start and a beginning. And in many ways, this is a restart of the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce, and so we're thrilled. And I just couldn't, Lauren gave a little bit of background. I couldn't be more thrilled, and I know I share the sentiments with our staff, to work with such a dedicated group of volunteers, business owner volunteers, who believe in their heart and soul in this town and its area and its future, and have asked us to help them implement that larger partnership and vision, working hand in glove with the municipal government. And Congresswoman Trahan, in her various roles that she's had, there are infinite number of asks that come to a congressional office. But when the municipal leadership and the business leadership in a town and an area can come aligned and have shared priorities, you're going to have a competitive disadvantage. And that's what we want to help facilitate, working with the volunteer board, led by Lauren Crossman-Nanoff, Carrie and Bill Spencer, and Carrie Salwa, and we're looking forward to growing that. I mentioned Clinton Savings Bank as being a sponsor of this. They are also one of our first members. and our ability to grow and expand and implement the vision of the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce we're going to need more businesses to join. So when we add events, which we need sponsorship, and we'll have those conversations. And I'm really thrilled with the way people have stepped up, and I know Lauren is too. Just when we launched, I think it was beginning of May? June and May at the Clinton High Street, at the Clinton Bar and Grill. We had a nice inaugural crowd. We did 2 information sessions, Summerfest, Street Fest. We have the first annual meeting. We're looking at the first business after hours, I think December 6th at Sterling Street Brewery, and then the Bailey Awards coming up. So think about that in a matter of 9 months, what we've been able to do. So with more support, membership, volunteering, sponsorship opportunities will grow, and that inures to the benefit of the businesses and residents of not only the town of Clinton, but some of the areas that see Clinton as their hub. So I want to just acknowledge that and say thank you. Now it's my pleasure, and I want to acknowledge, before I do, how great Congresswoman Trahan's staff has been. Jake has been our point person on a lot of these things. Thank you, Jake. Lori Trahan is serving in her second term after being re-elected to the House in 2020. She's a member of the prestigious House Energy and Commerce Committee, Chamber of Commerce, right? In her role on the committee, she's advanced legislation to address the addiction crisis, support teen and youth mental health, protect people from the dangers of social media, and make unprecedented investments in rebuilding our region's infrastructure. Part of the Pink Wave in 2018 that elected more women to the House of Representatives than at any other point in American history, Congresswoman Trahan holds the distinction of being the first Portuguese-American woman ever to serve on Capitol Hill. Prior to her election, she served in Congressman Meehan's office, the same office she holds now for nearly a decade, rising to become his chief of staff. She went on to take an executive post in the technology sector before co-founding the woman-owned business and consulting firm Concierge. In this role, she provided client companies advice on business strategies and steps that could take to ensure staff success, with a particular focus on helping women advance to senior roles. The daughter of working-class parents and granddaughter of immigrants, she graduated from Lowell High School before becoming the first in her family to graduate from college, attending Georgetown University on a volleyball scholarship. I would just point out, we reinstituted a new program that the Chamber ran for years, a couple of years ago, Worcester Goes to Washington. Congresswoman Trahan was one of our featured speakers. Her staff helped us secure a number of speakers to meet different agency leaders and elected leaders down in Washington to let them know about some of the opportunities and challenges that we face here in Central Mass. This just last night, and then again this morning. One large business I was speaking to last night, small business today, talking about if it wasn't for the Paycheck Protection Program, they would have been out of business. And then most recently, the federal infrastructure bill, bipartisan, historic, and both examples of where hard-working, committed elected officials can still work in a bipartisan way to get things done. Lori Trahan has been at the forefront of both of those major pieces. Thank you, Congresswoman Lori Trahan.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Come on. It's like the first one. We got to get off to a good start here. First, I want to thank Tim. It was such a pleasure to be part of Worcester's Regional Chamber going back down to Washington. It was the first event that we actually participated in since, the long 2 years of COVID. And it's such an important foundation of what we do in Washington, listening to our local small businesses, the pain that they're going through, the challenges that they lie ahead, the things that are working in our community so that we can engage in better policy making. I am so honored to be back here at the museum. It's been a while. I'm also honored to be here for the inaugural meeting of the Clinton Chamber of Commerce. And with all the recent developments downtown, you are really striking while the iron is hot. Driving down Union and High Street on my way in here today, it's clear that this is the perfect time for you to assemble a Chamber of Commerce, to assemble a group of like-minded business people who can convene, share ideas, invest in each other, in your growth individually, but also collectively. And what Tim said is exactly right. Having a group that's organized that, can get folks to row in the same direction, it makes my job infinitely easier, right? To get that economic development going in a community, to bring federal funds when a town is, all working in concert together, and there's nothing quite like a chamber to do that. I have to commend Lauren, Bill, and Kerry for taking the initiative and stepping into this leadership role for the chamber. We need the overachievers in our community, don't we? It is daunting to start something new, but I can't think of a better time to do it. I'll tell you, I for one, I never saw myself as an elected official, so I know how challenging it can be to take that first step. And then be thrust into the many challenges that lie before you. But you've got a group that's, so supportive, and the end results, the tangible results that you deliver to a community is really what motivates us. I want to thank Tim and everyone at the Worcester Regional Chamber for all the support of this project. It's so helpful to have some guideposts there as you launch something like this. I was just with Congressman McGovern last week at the North Central Chamber, and I always hear about the important work that you do for the greater Worcester community, and it's great to be back here with you. So as this chamber's federal representative, I feel it's my duty to keep you up to date on everything that's going on in Washington, and so I do look forward to many Capitol Hill updates. But a big part of what I do when I'm home is I convene, communities where they need support or they need a program, they need funding. And so that is where the job is most rewarding, it is most interesting, and certainly you can actually see those results in real time when you're working with people who are so dedicated to making the lives better for the folks who work and call this place home. So I really do look forward to working with all of you. So what's clearer, I'll start with the Capitol Hill stuff and then we can move off there. But what's clearer now than ever before between recent Supreme Court decisions, the unprecedented federal investments in manufacturing and infrastructure and clean energy, and the peaks and valleys of our economic news these past few months is our country's at a crossroads. And looking ahead at the next 5 years, at the next 10 years, our region does have a tremendous opportunity before us. While many states across the country have worked to rewrite history and take away rights that people have that they don't agree with, we've moved in the opposite direction. Massachusetts has moved forward, and that's to the people like Meg Kilcoyne, who leads with her values and represents all of us at the State House. It's why Massachusetts has historically been a place where people want to live, where they want to go to work, where they want to raise their family. We're a region that looks at what's happening with women's rights in Republican-controlled states, and we take action to protect women and health and their health and their health care providers. We're a place where labor rights, they're not just a check in the box, they're the gold standard. And we're a place where innovation and manufacturing has fueled our nation's advancement at every turn. So it's not a coincidence that when my Brazilian grandmother came to the United States 80 years ago, she moved to Massachusetts. She came right to Lowell. She worked as one of the mill girls in Lowell. She did that so she could, work hard and establish a better life for her family. And generation after generation before us has seized that opportunity to give people like my grandmother a chance. Right now, we have the chance to do it again. In the past year, Congress has taken up and passed unprecedented investments that will bring our region and our nation into the 21st century. Investments that help us not only compete, but win on the world stage. Projects like the bipartisan infrastructure law, which Tim mentioned, they're in full swing. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Lancaster to announce $4.7 million. It's a federal investment in a new intersection at 2 critical corridors outside of the Mary Rowlandson Elementary School and the Luther Burbank Middle School. Now, these projects are going to reduce the likelihood of accidents that have plagued the neighborhood because of unsafe signage And it's also going to make it safer for students and their parents to cross those busy intersections. And whether we're talking about our bridges that are in disrepair, our water systems that have failed us across the Commonwealth, or public transit, we wouldn't have got it done. We wouldn't see these investments, these dollars pouring into our communities without the bipartisan infrastructure law. We didn't stop there. We also passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which is going to reduce out-of-pocket costs for families from everything from health care to utility bills. I'm particularly pleased to report that Massachusetts is uniquely situated to benefit from the climate investments in this legislation. Investments in clean energy like offshore wind, and investments in grid sustainability, which we all know how important that is as we look through the next 6 months of winter. But what I'm especially excited to talk to you about is the CHIPS and Science Act that we passed in August, because by now, I'm sure you've no doubt heard that the long overdue law is going to just revitalize our semiconductor chip industry here in the United States. You've heard a lot about the manufacturing facilities, the research labs, and the jobs that they're going to create because of it. But our region stands to benefit disproportionately from this because of the tremendous coalition of chip-focused companies that call Massachusetts home. This concentration of innovation, not just in R&D, but also manufacturing, means that we're going to establish a cluster right here where one used to exist, right? It's a region that combines the incredible work that's being done in the private sector with academics at research institutions like UMass Lowell or MIT. It's a relationship that breeds jobs, incites investment, and it strengthens our region and our entire economy. So I'm committed to making that vision a reality. It's going to require all of us to come together to make that case. Now that's not going to be difficult given the history of this region, and now it just got a whole lot easier by having a chamber to work with so that we're all organized in doing that. So with all the opportunity ahead of us, we also have to acknowledge the tremendous challenges that remain. The challenges that risk our country moving forward, but leaving large swaths of working families behind. Inflation continues to threaten the ability of working families to recover from the pandemic, and parents who want nothing more than to create a better life for their families and to re-enter the workforce. Increased costs are forcing small and medium-sized businesses, many of which overcame the darkest days of the pandemic, only to shut their doors for good because of the high costs. And we know the problem with supply chains, something that we've been working to resolve for months to help alleviate that pressure. But we also know that there's been a consolidation in a number of industries, food, lumber, even baby formula, that's driving up prices for our hardworking families as well. A few massive corporations have gobbled up smaller competitors and become the only game in town that folks can order from. And despite the antitrust laws that are on our books, these billion-dollar companies are banking on us not acting, not holding them accountable for price gouging that adds to their already record-setting profits, but in doing so on the backs of families and community businesses like yours. This couldn't be happening at a worse moment in our history. Estimates from National Grid and from Eversource are predicting that home heating and utility bills are going to skyrocket this winter, fueled by increased demand for natural gas and heating oil that is drying up because of Vladimir Putin's losing war in Ukraine. But families like the one I grew up in, they don't care about the reasons that it's happening. They don't care about the cause of these price hikes. What they care about is the fact that they won't be able to afford another $40 or $50 on their bill, let alone $120. Our perspective, I think, on this must be simple, and hopefully it's shared. No parent should ever be forced to choose between heating their home or putting food on their table, period. And so to get ahead of this issue, Congress most recently passed and the President signed into law a government funding package last week that includes an extra $1 billion into the LIHEAP program. Some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this program, given the unique need that communities in Massachusetts have for home heating assistance. And the fact that we got this additional funding approved before the demand surges is important. But that alone isn't going to be enough to ease the pain of increased utility costs this winter. I've been working with my colleagues to advance proposals that will increase our ability to get natural gas and home heating oil to Massachusetts quicker and more efficiently. That increased supply will lower the costs and ease the burden on families and small businesses like yours. That's what we should be striving for as we continue working to transition our grid away from fossil fuels and toward green renewable sources. And with the headway we've made already, I fully expect our region to lead the way there once again. We have the tools and the resources necessary to win. In fact, I was just with the president most recently when he came to the Commonwealth last month, and these are his words, not mine, but he said nothing happens without the input and the sign-off of the Massachusetts delegation. I assure you he wasn't talking about me. We've got some very powerful people in the Massachusetts delegation, Chairman Neal, Chairman McGovern, but you better believe that means fulfilling the president's promise of building back better. It requires Massachusetts to lead, which is why you see so many federal dollars coming to our state. So I want to thank you for inviting me to join you this afternoon to celebrate the start of a new chapter for Clinton's businesses. I think it's a big part of the reason why Clinton is positioned so well to continue to grow in the next decade and beyond. And I look forward to coming back, not just with Capitol Hill updates, but you should know that Jake and Sarah are from my team. We're at your service, right? Like I said at the beginning, the most important thing that we do is we help communities get the funding that they need to leverage that for private investment. There's an enormous amount of federal funding coming to our state, coming directly to our municipalities, and shame on us if we don't all work together to put you all in the best position for creating a community that is one that your children and your grandchildren can be proud of. With that, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today. Thank you to our sponsor, Clinton Savings Bank, our partners at the Worcester Regional Chamber, those at the Worcester Regional Chamber who led this event to get it up and going, Caitlin, Kristen, Alex, and David, who's always there for us. I have to write everything down because there's so many people to thank. To Congresswoman Trahan, of course, thank you for taking your time to come visit us today. State Representative Meg Kilcoyne, who has been at every single Clinton area Chamber of Commerce event we've held thus far. So thank you again, and see you at Halloween Walk, maybe. Representative Naughton, who is here today, and fun fact, he's one of my first customers of my paint and design company, Revive, so thanks for investing and shopping local.
You did a great job.
We look forward to working with all of you again in the future and making connections, providing resources, and celebrating your milestones for your businesses and other committees. So thanks for coming.